Okay, we just having all kinds of technical problems tonight. But you know what? Let's forget that and start going here. And welcome to the season premiere of the third season of Cyclones FeverCast. And I'm joined again tonight by my good friend and the editor of Brooklyn Baseball Banter, Daniel Weiss. Daniel, welcome to the FeverCast.
Thank you for having me, Gary. It's hard to believe it's now year number 3.
And it's great to have you back. And for some reason, I'm not hearing you again. There we go. There we go.
You hear me? Good.
I hear you. We have been having some gremlins here, folks. So stick with us. Check out the audio to hear the theme song if you want. But we're on. We're live. And let's get right into it. Big season of New York Penn League Baseball coming up, Daniel. And especially for the Brooklyn Cyclones. We're a mere, what is it now, 8 days away?
8. Yep. No, not 9 days if you count today still. So,
all right.
We're slowly approaching the 17th.
And we're happy about that. We can't wait for the season to start. And some Cyclones news breaking out there. We have a whole promo schedule and giveaways, and looks like it's going to be a fun, exciting year.
Yep, I think so. I think that the team did an excellent job on the giveaways. It's a lot of nice items to choose from. I have to say, like, they have some, they have good giveaways and they have useful giveaways. So, like, the socks is a very useful giveaway. The jersey apron I'm actually looking forward to, and I'm not into aprons. The calendar will be nice to have. The beer stein's good. The fleece blanket, you can never get enough of those. And we have a lot of bobbleheads. Only 4 jerseys, but I have a closet full of some I've never worn. So every now and then we could have different type of giveaways.
Right, and jersey, of course, is a very popular giveaway at MCU Park, and I'm surprised they're only down to 4. But as you say, you're a regular, so you've got a ton of them, and I'm hoping to get a couple this year. Got to lose a little bit more weight, though, to get into them, but that's okay. It gives me an incentive to do that. But all right, some things going on today. Former Cyclone Akil Morris is traded to the Braves, and the Mets bring back Kelly Johnson.
Yeah, I think it was a good move. I know some fans were not in favor of it. The Mets need a third baseman, and David Wright, he's the captain. He's been with the team forever. The problem is that David Wright is injured. He has spinal stenosis, and as Mac Aid said on your show, Mets Musings, it's very hard to play through that. And I think the Mets have to consider they might have to move on from David Wright. And I think Kelly Johnson's a good veteran. He helped us get to the World Series last year. And I think it was the only guy available right now.
Yeah, I think it's a good first move. I'm sure there's going to be other moves as we go along. But good point about Kelly. He was valuable last year. And he's also, he can play in New York. He's a veteran, nice veteran presence. And they've got to do something. The offense has been awful, and it doesn't look to be getting any better. Don't know what the deal is on tonight's game so far, but they were losing when we started. And, of course, you got to pick that up. But this is the Cyclone show, and so let's get a little bit back to that. We took a little detour away from the giveaway.
Come on, get the safe side. Walker.
And the promos. But got some nice theme nights, too, going on at MCU Park this year.
Yeah, I really like Coney Island Frank's night. That one looks interesting. A lot of teams do, like, what if they had gone with the other name? So it'll be interesting to see if the Binghamton Mets become the Stud Muffins. Maybe they'll have a Binghamton Bullheads night. Well, those are some lousy names, but
I don't know where they got those names from, but they were terrible.
oh god, it's the only good one is Bullheads. But I think Seinfeld night will be fun. I can't make it. The Mike Piazza Hall of Fame Day will be a nice thing to this watch. I think it's good that the team will let us watch it from the ballpark as it's done live. The Wilmer Flores bobblehead, that's actually like really awesome to see. Then I saw some other people. I asked around. Some people were very big on Irish Night and the 1986 World Champ Celebration Night. Full House Night is big for some people. I know some people are looking forward to the Joe Torre appearance, and I am not in favor of that. I'm still upset at how he let Utley get away with that dirty slide on Ruben Tejada.
Well, I think because he's a Brooklyn kid, and it's a minor league club, and you're getting somebody from Major League Baseball. I think that's why people are excited about it. I'm with you. I'm a little still ticked off about the whole Utley thing, and it just reverberated more here a couple of weeks ago when Syndergaard threw behind him, didn't even come close, and yet got tossed from the game. But another popular bobblehead, it seems, is going to be the Michael Conforto bobblehead.
Yes. Well, I think it's also appealing that it's a normal bobblehead. Yeah, I love the Cyclones, but sometimes their bobbleheads could be a little too much. Sometimes they they cross it with some other theme, and it's not. I'm a traditionalist in this sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean. A couple of years ago, they had the Nemo one, and what was he in scuba gear or something to do with?
Yeah, Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
Captain Kirk, Newton Heiss. I don't even want to know what that Fonzie bobblehead looks like. As far as I'm concerned, the Fonzie bobblehead should have him in the uniform, the way the traditional. Don't change it up.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And changes are in the air, both at the park and on the coaching staff, as Tom Gamboa will be back for his third season as the head coach, the manager of the Brooklyn Cyclones. But he'll have Fonzie Elgato Alfonso with him for another season or so. But some new faces in the dugout and in the bullpen this year for the Cyclones. Care to go through those a little bit?
Well, I think you should have read it by now. Everyone's had time. But, so we have
read it on Brooklyn Baseball Banter. We're going to tell you here what it is.
Yes. So, Yunier Garcia is no longer the hitting coach. Sean Ratliff, who played with the Cyclones in 2008, is the new hitting coach. And Dave LaRoche retired after last year, and they hired Billy Brick Jr. to be the pitching coach. His father works for the Diamondbacks as assistant GM in charge of scouting, I believe. So hopefully a new coaching staff and new players we're going to have. Hopefully we'll have a much better sense of we'll have a much better winning team this year.
Yeah, I hope so. We both like Gamboa, and I think this is going to be his last season here. And who knows? Maybe next year, David Wright ends up in the manager's seat at MCU Park. Who knows? I have a feeling, like you said, I think he's going to retire at either sooner than later. But who knows what could happen? It might be something nice to introduce him into baseball management if that's the way he wants to go, or maybe he could be a bench coach for Fonzie or a roving instructor or whatever. But that's down the road. But talking about changes, there's been some changes to MCU Park, and a little less seats now this year.
Yeah, they took out a set of bleachers. I was fortunate enough to attend a number of NYU games, as well as some other college games there. And the nice thing about having one less set of bleachers is that when you look from behind the plate out to the outfield, you now have a very nice view of the carousel. It actually is a bit of an improvement. They added a tiki bar out there, and I think they're going to have some more stuff. I was last there it was on, I believe, May 9th for a CUNY tournament. So they also we're going to have a new soda supplier in Coca-Cola, just like the Mets.
Mm-hmm.
And those were the only noticeable changes I saw.
Now, is the Tiki Bar sponsored by any particular company, or is it an open thing? And will everybody be allowed to use it, or will it just be for the people in those seats out there, or how are they going to work that?
I'm not sure, but I'm going to assume you're going to need a wristband to get out there. There's an all-you-can-eat buffet, but I have a feeling if there are nights that there's no groups out there, fans might be able to go out there and see what it's like. It will. Well, hopefully, we'll find out in the coming weeks.
And
yeah.
I am sorry. Go ahead.
And while we're talking about all-you-can-eat and stuff, for those who don't know, the Staten Island Yankees got rid of their all-you-can-eat buffet, which is upsetting for a lot of Cyclones fans.
Well, the one game I went to was at that all-you-can-eat buffet at Staten Island, and I urge people to go check it out. Check out that stadium as well. That's a nice stadium. You can go see the Cyclones play there, and it's really nice. It doesn't get that crowded usually, pretty much when the Cyclones come. But the only problem with that place is if you're like me and you drive, the parking is horrendous, and it's terrible now because of all the construction. They're putting that big wheel up there, and but if you can, it's a great place to go.
Yes, I agree. I even have my 4-game plan for there. No, you have a great view there, and it's always fun when you win on the road. Especially their beat Brooklyn night last year was not exactly that successful. They're doing it again this year, and I asked my rep, why do you guys always have to do it on a Friday night when I can't go? And he jokingly said, it levels the playing field when you're not there.
Well, that's quite a compliment to you. And we were talking a minute ago about the Tiki Bar, and it seems that a lot of places have these party areas. Last year we were both up at you've been up more than I was up there twice last year, the Dutch, and they have a party area, and that's more or less open to the public, though. Anybody could walk through there and go to that. But it seems like a lot of the minor league stadiums have gone to that.
Yes, they got to generate revenue. It's a very tough business owning a minor league baseball team. A family friend of ours, he used to own a couple teams, and he says it's very hard to turn a profit. That's why nowadays they have more sponsors, more bars, more distractions that will generate revenue.
And brings people into the ballpark. That's what they have to do. I mean, just look at the amount of promos and giveaways and theme nights that the Cyclones do. And they're in a kind of a tough market, too, because they play in a major league city, and they have 2 major league teams and another minor league team in their division right there. And yet they're leading the league constantly, the New York Penn League, in attendance, and followed up by Hudson Valley, and I forget who was in 3rd this year, but might have been Tri-City. They do very well.
Yes. The thing with the New York City area is you not only have 2 major league teams, 2 minor league teams, you have also a lot of other competition. There's Trenton, there's Lakewood, The Trenton's the Double-A Yankees. Phillies have a low-A team in Lakewood, and for all we know, we could get a team out in Camden next year. You have Hudson Valley. There's in the independent leagues, Long Island, Somerset, Sussex. They used to be Newark. There's the New Jersey Jackals in Montclair, and eventually someday we'll have the Hartford Yard Goats if they ever get that ballpark done.
In case you people don't know, they were building a new stadium, Dunkin' Donuts Stadium in Hartford, Connecticut, and they just hired the contractor because of delays, and of course he blames the city, and the city's blaming him, and it's going back and forth. So
sounds nothing short of normal in construction. It's not my fault; it's his fault.
And other news in the New York Penn League. While we're here, it was rumored that actually there was a story out that the Batavia Muck Dogs were going to be sold to a minority group and moved to Maryland, and apparently that deal has now fell through. I think the Orioles put the kibosh on that. They didn't want the competition. So Batavia, who was last, I believe, last season in attendance, will struggle through another season. And that's really kind of a shame because that's more or less the ancestral home of New York Penn League, and it's a shame, but the area is a depressed area, I guess, and they just can't draw people.
Yeah, well, I did not think that deal was going to go through. It's what you're going to displace a team in the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. You're going to move them elsewhere. It's not a very easy thing to do because that team has the rights to that ballpark. And they're not going to go anywhere. And they've been around for a number of years. And two of their last managers have actually gone on to – one of them went to the Yankees in Pat Osborne last year. And another guy I think is in the Penn League. And I still think if they could put the Batavia Muck Dogs in Camden and make it a Phillies affiliate, the Mets, Yankees, and Phillies all have a local affiliate nearby. And it's not that far to get to Camden for a game. It's actually easier than going to Hudson Valley.
But then you have the problem with Philly having two teams in the Penn League.
No, the Phillies would then not have an affiliate in Williamsport. They would give that up to someone else.
Then we'd have to get a team to take that.
Well, it's right. Well, right now, I believe Batavia is under the Cardinals. So the Cardinals would take Miami. So Miami would take the Williamsport affiliation, and the Phillies would take the proposed Camden affiliation. Look, the Mets were up in Pittsfield at one point.
Yeah.
And then they moved to Brooklyn.
Yeah. Well, let's get a group together.
Put a team back in Newark, New Jersey. That's a well-located ballpark.
Or even Atlantic City. They got a stadium down there.
That's falling apart.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, well, we went to Weiss. It's been closed for 5 years.
Really a shame when you see some of these pictures in these old these stadiums are closing down and they lose teams. And I do feel for the people in Batavia that could lose their team. But, really, if you think about it, let's just say I feel bad for the loyal fans because if they got out and support them, then they wouldn't be moving. But again, I don't know too much about the area and everything. I'd like to. I was trying to plan a trip there last year, and it never happened. And I don't know about this year, but. That damn work gets in the way of everything fun. So yeah. I have to pick and choose my trips and choices here, but trying to hopefully going to get to Hudson Valley. I'd really like to get to Tri-City. I don't know. Have you ever been up in that ballpark?
No. We have a Sunday game, August 7th. It's a good day to go. But unfortunately, it's been coming down to with all these cities, use it or lose it when it comes to a team. Either if you don't go, they're not going to stay there anymore.
and of course Jamestown, the Jamestown Jammers from 2 years ago, they lost their team. They moved to West Virginia. It seems like there's a migration of New York Penn leagues down to the Maryland, Virginia. There's even a team in Ohio area. What do you think about that? Is that where the money is now, or?
I wouldn't know exactly which cities are where the money is, but look, unfortunately it's not as much the New York Penn League as it used to be. We've have less teams in New York. When the Cyclones hosted the All-Star game in 2014, they played it as South versus North, and one of the other proposals would have been East versus West, or another which was New York versus not New York. I think they would have had another name for it. But because at that point we had 7 New York teams, 7 teams scattered throughout the area, and someone said that eventually they're going to spread out more. You might want to rename this the Northeast League. It was actually called the Pony League for a while, the Pennsylvania, Ontario, New York League. But unfortunately, it's not beneficial to the league or the owners to stay in cities where nobody goes.
No, of course not.
And while we're discussing trips, I'm planning, if people would like to join, July 17th. It's a Sunday. The Cyclones are up in Hudson Valley, and for the first time ever, they're not doing these crazy home-and-home series. So it's a 4:00 game on the 17th. I'll have more info posted about train travel. And then I'm going to be staying up there with the 2 others. They have an 11 o'clock game the next day against Hudson Valley. So the first time ever, you get to have a night game followed by a day game. So I'll be doing an overnight trip.
And are you getting a bunch of tickets for people to sit together, or is it just
between players leaving some fans tickets, other fans buying their own tickets? It's one of those ballparks where there are certain areas that they don't really check your tickets, particularly on the third baseline and the bleacher type seats, which would be right behind the Brooklyn dugout. So it would be very fun to do. We have our Boardwalk Battalion flags ready, and it would be a good outing. And for those who don't want to do the overnight, you're not obligated to. If you're looking at a trip where you get to Grand Central, you have to be there around 1:15, 1:30, and then at the end of the day, the train gets back to Grand Central the train leaves Hudson Valley at 9:08, so you're probably back in Grand Central around 11.
Or you can drive up.
Yes, you could drive. So if anyone wants to drive, I'm willing to carpool. And so hopefully we'll have a good time. And then if those who want to go see another Mets farm team, on that same Wednesday, July 20th, the Binghamton Mets have a game at 1 o'clock. And it is it's that rare perfect opportunity that you could take a bus at 8 a.m. to Binghamton from Port Authority. You get to Binghamton around 11 o'clock. The gates open, I believe, an hour before the 1 o'clock game, and stay for the game, and then take a bus back to New York and not have to worry about getting home at an ungodly hour. If you take the 6:10 bus, you'll be back in Port Authority at 10 p.m.
All right, so there you have it. And you mentioned about the Boardwalk Battalion. Why don't you explain to the folks a little bit about that?
Yes, it was a group that I founded with Sam Williams and Gary. And what we're doing is we're trying to be similar to the 7 line, that we go on the road, we support the team, or we'll pull certain shtick on certain games. Like we have a couple of nights map announced already. We're going to have every game in Staten Island. We want people to we either wear the Boardwalk Battalion shirt, which you can get online at T-Chip. We'll have the link posted as well. We're going to have the first night we're doing will be June 20th. It's a Monday when they give out Conforto bobbleheads. We're going to encourage people to wear Michael Conforto gear. And then July 23rd, it's against Aberdeen on a Saturday. It will be Star Wars night. So we encourage all those to dress up in Star Wars gear. If you have any of that Cyclones gear with the Star Wars design, wear that. The following day, when it's Mike Piazza Day, we encourage people to wear Piazza jerseys. Then there's going to be a superhero night. So either come up, we might hold our own private contest. Whoever has the best superhero costume that's of their own making will win a prize. We're going to have it. And then on the last days of the season, we'll have like a very nice send-off. And when we do Staten Island, we're going to have stuff as well. Saturday, June 18th will be the opener. And we're going to encourage people, to come out, support the Cyclones. And then on Wednesday, August 18th, it will be Jewish Heritage Night. So if any of you guys are Jewish and have a Cyclones kippah, I would suggest wearing it, or a Hebrew Cyclones jersey. The following night will be Irish Night in Staten Island, and that's when I want everyone to wear green Cyclones jerseys, and we should have plenty of them if you got every giveaway jersey ever. And then the Yankees will have Beat Brooklyn Night again. So we're going to have our own version. Maybe we're going to call it Beat SI, or someone thinks we should do Cows Down. It's a little shot at their mascots. And then the last game of the season, we will do like a thank you Cyclones night. But hopefully at that point in September, we'll be in the playoffs.
Yeah, let's hope for that. It looks like I'm going to miss all of these games. My seats don't correspond with any of those nights, but I'll try to get into one, and if not, I'll be there in spirit. You know that. But it's a great thing trying to get it off the ground. Daniel's done a lot of work, and he'll be there with his flag and everything. And so anybody can join. All you got to do is just root for the Cyclones and go to T-Chip and get yourself a Boardwalk Battalion T-shirt or a hoodie or something. What else we got?
Mugs, phone holders, hoodies, sleeveless tees. We're still looking into hats, but T-Chip does not do hats. And I've actually emailed them about that.
Hats are a very tough thing to find cheaply. They're very expensive. So, and we did not plan this to wear the same hat tonight. This was just pure accident that we both ended up going with the red brim look here. But
I have on my jersey, which kind of goes with.
Daniel's got his full alternate jersey there, the Sunday
customized,
jersey, right?
Yep, customized.
Yeah,
there's the cowbell guy on it.
And Daniel will be there, of course, with his cowbell every game.
Yep. Well, every Sunday through Thursday game. And hopefully we'll have a good season. The other thing I heard, and it is a rumor at this point, and I haven't had any confirmation, but the week of July 4th, which would mean July 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, the Cyclones are away in Batavia and have an off day. The Binghamton Mets are supposed to be in Hartford. And anyone who's followed knows that it's a disaster in the making, the Hartford ballpark, Dunkin' Donuts Park. Just the other day, they had to stop construction on it. So there's a rumor that's been going around that they can't play the series against the Binghamton Mets in Hartford, and that there's something going on in Binghamton that week that they can't play the series. So there is a possibility that series could get played in Brooklyn, that the Mets farm directors will push for a relocation to Brooklyn. And there's also, they can't play in Dodd Stadium where the Connecticut Tigers play because the Tigers are home. So it'll be interesting to see if that were to come true. We could see a Binghamton Mets game in Brooklyn.
Now that would be interesting. And of course, Lots of guys of interest there. Homecoming for some Cyclones like Gieselman and well, not Akil Morris now.
LJ Mazzilli, Colton Playa, Jared King, Stefan Sable. There's a number of guys who played who are former Cyclones that currently be Mets.
All right. Well, we'll keep you up to date on that. So now that we've started, we're going to be on weekly, the FeverCast, and I haven't quite picked out a day yet. I'm still trying to figure that out in my head because I do some other shows, and I got to work it into the schedule. But it will be weekly, and the plan is Daniel's going to join me again next week, right, Daniel?
Yep. Well, just looking at the calendar, the Cyclones are on the road every Wednesday until August 10th. Just putting that out there.
Okay. I think he's dropping me a hint. Well, we'll see. Wednesday might be taken with another show. I don't know yet, but
there are some Tuesdays available also.
Yeah. And I like to look sometimes for those rare days off that they have to try to figure it out, but they're so far few and far between. And this year they've kind of mixed them up a little bit. Do you think that if they ever do expand further out the New York Penn League, do you think they'll expand the season or at least expand? They may have to expand not the amount of games, but just the season itself.
Yeah, I think they would have to add a few off days because right now there's only 5 of them, and you have one this year on July 20th, which is a good reason to join me to go to Binghamton. There's no scheduling conflict in the Penn League. Then they have one a week later, the 27th, and then there's also one July 7th I missed out before. And then they have the August 15th and 16th. And the 16th will be the Penn League All-Star Game, which will be up in Hudson Valley. And depending on the number of Cyclones that get selected to the team, we may do a Boardwalk Battalion trip up there. But given the Penn League's way of handling the All-Star Game last year, it's very unlikely I would waste my money going up to see a game that does not abide by the rules of baseball.
Daniel means, of course, that the game 2 years ago was
no, not 2 years ago. Last year.
No, last year was in Maryland, wasn't it?
Yes, and that game was. If you thought the one in Brooklyn was bad, we just ended in a tie. They had that in spring training. Last year, they imposed a 25 pitch limit on each pitcher.
Right.
So one inning, the guy threw 23 pitches, and there was a runner on base. So they just announced that the batter on first was out. So the guy, because God forbid a guy throws over 25 pitches. And there was also one guy switched teams before the game, but that didn't annoy me. But they didn't even play the bottom of the 9th inning. How do you get the home team is losing? They have to have a bottom of the 9th inning.
Yeah, they need to work on that a little bit, and maybe they'd be better off just naming an all-star team and then having some kind of I don't know, maybe just have like a home run derby or something or other, and forget the whole idea of the game itself, or make it a 6-inning or 7-inning game or something.
College does 7 innings for doubleheaders as well, and they sometimes end the game early for various reasons.
Well, we'll see what they got in store for this year's All-Star Game, and I'm looking to try to make that. I like the Hudson Valley area, and I know the wife likes it too, so maybe she likes it too much, but she may be wanting to retire up that area, so I might be doing a Renegades podcast. Who knows in the future?
And to root for Hudson Valley. I can't wear those blue hats. I'm sorry, that powder blue hat. No. The only nice thing about the ballpark is that if you're either lazy or you don't like stairs, to go from the parking lot, the concourse is level with the parking lot.
Right.
And I've always found it very frustrating in Brooklyn. You walk up about 40-something stairs just to walk back down to the seating bowl. They have that in Trenton. In where else do they have that? Staten Island. You have to sometimes walk uphill or something.
Yes, that
In Newark and Hudson Valley were always very good with that, where the street level and the concourse were the same level.
Yeah, it's I like the Dutch. I really did. I like Dutchess Stadium. As Daniel said, you walk right in and you're pretty much right there. And this, it's a one level. The only thing that's bad is it's brutal on a day game because it is wide open
Yeah, no rain cover.
and no rain. Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing. When they want to get their fans going, if you've ever been there along past first base and third base, they have a lot of metal bleachers. And I went last year one night, and there was a lot of camps there, and they were trying to get the fans going, and they're all stomping on the bleachers. It gets really loud. Those of you who remember the early days of the Cyclones, that actually used to happen when people stomped on the bleachers at Keyspan Park, as it was called.
Yeah. Well, all right. This is a good first episode for us, and as I said, we'll be back weekly throughout the season, so be sure to tune in and check out the FeverCast, and we're going to have some interviews here and things like that. And don't forget that you can call in, and we have a new number for the FeverCast, and that number for voicemail is 516-362-0443. And if you'd like, you can help us out to keep the FeverCast as well as Mets Musings going by going to a Patreon page at patreon.com/Mets Musings, and that will help out not only Mets Musings, it'll also help out the FeverCast. So keep those both in mind. And Daniel, again, thanks for coming on. The website is brooklynbaseballbanter.com. Go check it out. It's got everything you want to know about Brooklyn baseball. And anything else?
Yeah, we did have a question message. Someone asked from Scott Sideman, also known as Scotty the Leprechaun. Should there be a Scotty the Leprechaun bobblehead night?
Oh, I definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, we'll put that right into the promotions department of the Cyclones, and hopefully they'll kick that in and maybe do it next year. But
yeah, and nothing against the Irish, but I have way too many Irish jerseys. So I figured let's do a Scotty the Leprechaun bobblehead for Irish night and a Jewish jersey on Jewish night.
All right.
I do have an event I am helping coordinate for my synagogue, and you could contact me for the info. We're doing an outing to a game on Jewish Heritage Night, and if you buy through our package, you get one of the group hats that the Cyclones have. You get a bucket hat if you get there early. You get a free kosher hot dog and soda, and whoever orders through us gets entered into a raffle to win an Edgardo Alfonso signed baseball, and we're gonna have some other prizes for those who sign up. So if you contact me, I can send you the registration info for the event.
All right, and you can reach Daniel through Facebook and at Real Brooklyn Cyclones Fans on Facebook. So go check that out. If
you don't have Facebook, you can reach me on Twitter at BK Cowbell Guy, and it's also at BK B-Ball Banter. If you're watching on the show, it's right there on the bottom of the screen. So we have plenty of different, and then I think that's pretty much covered everything for this episode.
All right, so we'll talk to you again next week, everybody out there, and
we'll preview the rosters
next week. The roster, hopefully, yeah.
And if you go to my site, you'll see some of the roster because I had someone give me a couple names.
Okay, so be sure to come back and check us out next week. right here on the FeverCast. Remember to catch the fever, Cyclones Fever. We'll see you then.